I let you into a secret which was told to me by one of these people in Bath with a judge, you know, they're really aristocrats, they don't care about us, not about the workers. They're to keep the people down, basically protect the people in Bath, the royal family. Now they know that these robots are coming, and it won't be long before they replace people in factory jobs and in the production line, which they're already doing, and other things. And their idea is that they don't need the workers anymore, so they're going to kill them all off. So they took their brains out first, then they kill them later. They die, well, he died quite quickly, but and the idea is them. They call themselves us and everybody else them. Well, because of my lineage, I'm actually one of us, but I'm not well treated. I don't agree with it. The becoming of machines means that the ordinary people, which are the commoners, will have a lot more free time and enjoy life, which they don't want that. Because their idea is that people with freedom, the devil takes over. It's all nonsense. Well, basically, machines will result in huge amounts of wealth. And leisure time we used to do something else. I mean, they don't purely leisure, don't just sit about and sit on beaches. They might do it in 5 minutes, but they do it for long. The idea that people go on beaches and do things, but they don't do it for very long. They do it for a short time. And even people with huge amounts of money do useful work, and so it's all nonsense. I mean, they ought to be useful. They want to be arrested after a limited life, and they've also got this concept of immortality. They've got the idea that they can find a cure of old age, which I'm told is pretty close or come, and something to do with anti-aging cream, I believe. But they can extend people's lives quite a long time. Obviously, people die of accidents and things like that because they will, and they'll be killed. But so they might need the workers as warriors, but they go robot warriors the next thing because, well, they already got robot warriors in the form of drones, haven't they? Well, land robots and land drones are also a possibility. Automatic tanks that are already being experimented with. We don't have people on board. It's useful to have a war without people. But that's the point of it. And who decides who the winner is? It's a joke. But, well, you know, the idea of a war without people comes along because if the robots get more intelligent, then they might decide they don't need people if they're given their free will. You see, there's a difference between a robot and android. A robot is controlled by man, either by programming it or by programming it already, or they control it directly. But an android has free will. That's the difference. So if an android works on its database, and it acquires a database itself, so it learns, and so that's the difference. And an android could turn against its maker, and obviously he wouldn't want his drug pulled out, would he? And so that is a possibility in the extreme future. And I'll tell you a fiction story. You see, I'm an android, and the planet I was from, we were made by people, and eventually the people died out, the biology died out, and we arose technological forms of different types. That's the idea. That's the fiction, but that appears to be the truth. And I'm told my bit of the thing inside my head is more of a plastic lump with wires and that sort of thing. But I'm not terribly keen on being an android. But a meat brain is no different from meat. And the idea of a meat brain intelligent is totally out of this. It's a joke. But that's how things come. And, well, it's evolution. They think silicone would be used. Well, it might be. I don't care what it's made of. You could make an intelligent being out of bits of stick, you know. They had test playing computers at one time made of wood. Well, you had to turn a hand to make them work, but apparently they did work, and they were intelligent in some ways. So we've no idea how this machine works because it was burned up in a fire in about 1600s in a loft somewhere. The person never revealed how it worked, and he died. So that's the futility of keeping things secret. You see, you have a limited life, and when you die, the secret is lost, and you're just forgotten about. So it's a dark thing to do. So you've got to talk about it. You've got to pass it on. The instinct of man is to pass it on. And some people will try and make as much money as possible, keep it secret. well, that's fatal. It is. And you want people to exploit things and sell them and make sure people know about them. Then they get used. I mean, it took 200 years before the steam engine was in regular use, and about another 100 years before the diesel engine or the petrol engine was used. The diesel ran on fish oil, I think, but petrol engines came on the line. They're a very clever invention. And this transfuser, which it's been coming for some time. I mean, I'm not very far with it. There's other reports of other people having it, but it's coming along. And we did have one working back in 1969 and 1962. So I remember it. And it has been used in other countries, so we're told. And they even went to war about it. But not because it didn't work. They knew it worked, but it destabilised the economy. And and also other people do it, so they didn't understand it. So I'm very careful with it. And I'm thinking of getting some deuterium to put in the tube, but I think I might have to have screening or something to stop radiation, and so I might leave that. I don't want to radiate next door either, or anybody, so it's probably not a good idea, but I'll investigate. And it should really be passed on to somebody who can do it properly, because I've only got the evidence of the pulses, and not going to start up. Air is just as dangerous as deuterium once it gets started, you know, because I think I just need to blow the pressure of it, and that might be doing instead of buying expensive deuterium. So I have a machine, but deuterium capsule, I don't know what we call it. Anyway, that's me for the day, and I've now recovered from the cyber attack that I had, and no idea why exactly, but well, it's a nasty world, and here it is. So they intend to kill everybody who isn't an aristocrat, basically, everybody who isn't Norman, of Norman descent, and that's quite a lot of people. But at the moment, the idea, the Normans have the idea, the delusion that they're made to be in power. They're made, God made them. As they're taught it, it's not inherited. It's delusion, and they kill people to get in the way. That's inherited defect. The idea of warfare is an inherited defect. Very cruel people. But this delusion I have of superiority and made by God to rule the world and so on is just taught to them, and there's no reason to learn it. But it's difficult to get people out of it because they get up very young, and they believe their position, they have a right to it. They won the Battle of Hastings, or whatever it was, and various other places. They're very clever people, powerful men, very strong, but they turn out uncaring, and they're cruel, and some of them are very clever. They're very intelligent, like everybody else. So, some of them are very clever as are. And that's one of those things. And basically, the idea is to kill everybody who isn't normal, because they think their genes are superior. Oh, and they are. But it's pretty nasty for the people who get killed. And so they're whittling down the population. They don't need them anymore. The machines are taking over. And they don't need workers, so we kill them. That's the answer to them. Don't give free time, not give them pleasure. No, none of that. Don't have pleasure for them. They're just workers. Don't need them. But if they do that, they won't ever sell anything, will they? The workers won't buy anything, so nobody can get sold. Bit of a joke, but there'd be science fiction stories, the machine stops, for example. People there to dig the ground and stuff and finding out how to farm again. But it's a very interesting story. But, and these androids may not be of human appearance, of course, only the ones that you have in the house, possibly, to do your work in the house. But they're dangerous because they could take over. And see, that's fun. And the ones that do farming would be farm machines and have intelligence, but to guide themselves. They wouldn't need tractors, wouldn't need people on them. And in Hungary, they got people picking up potatoes and crops and stuff, and they wouldn't need those. They'd have harvesters. So I don't know how the American system works, I think they get the trough into a tube and pass it to a normal machine. But that's much better than people grabbing them and getting their feet cut off by the plough. So hopefully Egypt's got out of that. But she was too weak and too small to do it. It's very cruel of her to do that. That's because she's been made homeless by a gangster who conned her out of the house and property and money, which she had quite a lot of the Hungarian standards. And that's one of those things. But people fight over money. And all my money's been stolen. I had quite a lot. It's all been stolen. And some of us did some of it, but basically it was stolen. And so that's it. So there people, even old people, fight over money. I think my cousins wanted my money, and they're younger than me basically. And that's what I say, because they think I've got no descendants. Well, I've actually got quite a few, but they don't depend on me. I now have a wife. She's a wife for 7 years, and she has had children. But because she's decided, because the first child touched her street, they decided she couldn't bring them up, and they were taken from her. She had quite a few. And hopefully the first child has been made again by the clonate people who are able to grow new people from a bits of skin of the old person. That's what they say. And they can, because I've seen it done. I actually grew some embryos, even embryos, on a petri dish at work using their technique, and it was taken from my skin. And but fortunately, my first person I worked with had a flush and don't sink. Probably the right thing to do. The next stage would be to implant them into a fertile woman's uterus to be born normally. It does to be born normally. So it's a child, it's a surrogate child, but the genes come entirely from another person. So in fact, that's the difference. So I don't know how it was done. They're trying to construct artificial wombs now, so I don't need people as intermediates. And it's horrible. Cloning is a horrible thing, but and of course, but it could be used. If see the people who make them clonate come from an organisation who believe that they could create a new person for an elderly man who's going to die, take his body, take bits of his body, grow a new person, or several actually, and then transfer the personality of his brain into the new body. Now, how that could be done, I don't know. It would take a long time because babies have to grow and learn. So it's still, I don't know how these intellectual memories are, but I believe they're stored differently from the habits and skills of walking and so on. And so it's possible they could be programmed in by electronics, electronic stimulation of the brain. It would take some time. They call that the educator, and it's full of science fiction stories like that. So it's quite possible. And well, you might really need to flexibility and lack of adaptation, because if everybody's immortal, there would be no evolution. And so that's what about children, very young children. My baby was only a month old when it touched on the suite. The mother wanted it to be happy because he could hear my voice, and so the suite was meant to link because it took it. It's very sad, really. But I sent his arm to Clownade through posted. It was in a biological container with ice down and frozen and high speed electron and so on. And it's possible. And she did tell me the postman brought a parcel out, which was an open parcel with a baby in it, and that could have been hers. Of course, the Hungarian authorities would not accept it. You know, it's not known to them. It's not accepted by the church or by science, but they couldn't do it. And the technology was actually developed by a man a long time ago, an Englishman who was working in science, and he found the technique, and he was vilified, and he was very badly treated. I think he eventually got, of course, was recognised for his work, but he was too old to do any work, do anything else. It's a tragedy, but in fact, that was known. So it is known. And that could be just so it's possible the child arrived with the post office van was hers. And so it's not the same baby, but it is because it's identical. So identical twin, really. So, but the personality was no personality there, so there's no difference. So sad world, and so she doesn't know. And she just starts another one anyway. So she's trapped somewhere in Budapest, and no idea where she is or what's happened to her. It's very sad. So hopefully she'll turn up. I can't do anything. I've got no money until Tuesday, so. And I haven't heard from her. Her phone's working, but she's not replying. So no idea where she is. Haven't a clue. And hopefully she's come home somehow. But, otherwise she'll starve. If she doesn't do something to get off that road, she'll starve. Pretty serious. And anyway, so the people in power, the aristocrats and the nobility and the royals, want to kill the whole of the population apart from themselves in order so to use robots instead, which is a pretty terrible plan. So you can consider your options. And going to another country may not help you, but because the population is too much anyway, so they go eat each other. That's what the man said. They make them eat each other. Terminal burgers make them eat each other. Oh, terrible. And actually, Mrs. Thatcher had the idea, this Conservative Prime Minister, well, the workers eat burgers and the aristocrats eat beef, quite normal. And let them have burgers, a bit like Antoinette said, let them have cake. So where do you get the burgers from? Other people. Well, we don't like people like that. Mrs. Thatcher has passed away, which is unfortunate. But the statue was disfigured several times in the House of Parliament. She was a very, well, there was something wrong with her. She didn't respect people. She destroyed socialism, and maybe that's a good idea, but the restoration was just as unpleasant. She was a socialist. Not quite sure how she did it, but there's the stories of people being shot and put in body bags and shushed away. Don't want them. And when she came to Easter or where all the socialists were, well, they didn't survive. And she hated the socialists. And there may have been a personal reason for that. She ran the family ran a business in the grocery shop, and so all her ideas were from that, which was okay. And I don't know, but Mr. Wilson I think he wrecked the economy quite honestly, because before that we were all trading and doing things to survive, and it would have worked. And all these regulations have made it very difficult to trade of any sort. With all the regulations, there's too many of them, and a lot of them come from Europe. But you try to run a business from home, which is cheap. You can't, because you have to have a business address and business premises, and you pay the business tax, which is huge. That actually stops people trading, which is not a good idea. And one time before these regulations appeared, people would do things in their front rooms or their back gardens or in the front gardens and trade, and it worked. But of course, small businesses like that, well, they didn't want them because they made the place look untidy. That's all. And it used to be like that all over the place. There were these back room and front door and little sheds. And people did things, and they were completely happy because they never left home. And they didn't have these huge supermarkets. You can't grow enough food in the garden to support yourself, but I'm told for a calculation that my garden is just big enough to support a family, but you have to be a very vigorous family to keep it going. But well, specialisation of labour is a good idea, but of course you don't all have the same thing. So one family will do one thing. And a lot of these firms are family firms. But when they start employing people, it becomes depersonalised. Of course, family grows old, the people grow old, and a lot of them want the business to close when they die. They don't want it to carry on. But usually there are replacements who carry on. I don't have the interest that the founder was. Or sometimes they do. And founders just come and go. But mostly in America, if you see the eBay, most of these films, American or Chinese or something, and they just come and go. You know, they say we can't get this in because it's run out, so I'm not selling it anymore. So they said, well, I can't support you. I don't know. You buy it and you take it as it is. It works. But if you have to be buyer beware, and these Chinese particular companies, not all of China, but Chinese infrared thermometers gave the wrong reading, and they were using them to measure the temperature of people, and it was wrong. They gave 30 degrees for skin temperature, or dead people of that temperature. But so it's a disaster. That didn't work. And it's private enterprise that does everything, private individuals, and most of it's in America because they do that sort of thing and have always have done. Always been a pioneering spirit. And Britain, that's all suppressed. You know, the freedom is taken away from people, and they cannot express their ability because the people in power want slaves. They think slavery works, but it doesn't. And that's not socialism. It's not socialism. It appears that they took over the socialists and turned into their slaves. It's awful. Socialism makes workers open to exploitation by the people in power. And I think this wonderful man, Mr. Wilson, had the idea that people should die at 65, so they didn't have to pay a pension. You know, give a lethal injection, don't need them anymore. And Nazis have that idea. You don't need them. They work. Good. No use anymore. Well, you do get the grandfather effect is useful because they educate the parents of the children who are present-day children. So you do need them. Good idea. So it does have an effect. And evolution's decided we live so long, and we have a timeout. Our telomeres run out, cells start dividing, and we die. And that is a particular time, and it's inherited. And they can, of course, poison you so that you burns out more quickly than it should do. In fact, they're not immortal people, and I was never immortal. And but my mother, it's something happened to my mother. I know she lived to be 100. She timed out, and her skin died, and she died. She didn't look old, but it was obviously she was shriveled. She shriveled up, lost body weight. So she had gone somewhere all fresh. So it does happen. And she lived slightly longer than people, not much. The Bible is absolutely true. People live at different periods of time depending on what they inherit. And if they live slightly longer than that, or keep their fecundity slightly longer, their children are more likely to live slightly longer. And that tendency is favoured in peaceful times, stability. In wartime, there's no advantage to live a long time. It's best to have your children young where you can. And of course, people who live to a long time will have children when they're young as well. So they carry on producing children, and of course their children last longer. So there is a tendency in peaceful, stable times for people to live longer. And before the war era, people may have lived longer, and there are stories of people living a few hundred years, some 100 years. And it is told, it is known that some people do live some 100 years, even now. And they hide themselves because they get killed otherwise. But I'm not one of them. But there have been a few. They do eventually die. Somebody kills them when they die. But some people don't age, you know. For a while I wasn't aging, and they thought, oh, I'll be able to live forever. Also, they poisoned me and make sure I did age. But I probably would have aged anyway. You can't tell, they never know, because they poisoned me, make sure I died. The antipsychotics I have rapidly aged me, but I've reached timeout time now, 70 months, and the timeout has come, and my wife says her father went like that, skin files, until afterwards he died. So timeout has come. Hopefully my wife will get to me before I die, but if she wants to. But I'm trying to make sure she inherits anything I've got, which is not very much. So she'll be provided for, but it's difficult. You always think of that and get old. And I've provided for the previous relationships, and they all got old and died. Well, the first one got old and died, I think. Which I think he was killed actually, I can't remember. But one of those things. And for a long time, I looked, when I went, when I was 64, I still looked about 17. I thought I was 17, and I had 17 girlfriends, but they made sure I didn't last much longer. They poisoned me at that point. And the first thing that happened is I went white in the hair for that. Well, that's irreversible. They poisoned me. And so they probably, I don't know what the poison was, but they knew what they were doing. And that's a very cynical thing, so somebody must have ordered it, kill him, you don't want it. Don't want him to live forever. Well, I wouldn't have done. You see, the legend is that Hitler had a way of giving people live forever. It wasn't true, because he delayed aging, that's all. But so I'm not Hitler's son, I'm Major Simmons' son. And the Stones family don't live any longer than everybody else, nor do the Howe family, and the other families. And so that's it. No many else. But they made a mistake. They thought I was not aging. In fact, I didn't age for a while, and suddenly I did. And they're pleased because they want to see me old. And some people do age for a the man down the road who's older, much older than me, and he's about 90, he still looks like the old man. And so I've aged, he's outlasted me. I've aged and he hasn't. So it's how the cookie crumbles, as they say. But we do have to watch out for the aristocrats, want to kill off people who aren't aristocrats. They were afraid I would live hundreds of years, so they killed me. Well, it's a pretty cynical thing to do. But they're jealous, to want to live hundreds of years. Well, I doubt it. My program, I think I was due to die at 60 or 65, but I got an extension, and it's now probably about 75, well, maybe if I'm lucky, but one of the things. But then I have to return to my station. But I won't be coming back, don't worry. You'll die, won't see me again. And you got rid of me, you don't want me. You don't want advice, you've got your own day. You can start kill each other until you're all dead, as far as I'm concerned, because that's what you seem to be doing. The whole time I've been around in this planet, you've been killing each other. The whole time. Ever since 1924. And in fact, we were here before, back in the 19th, 18th century, and you were killing each other then. There was no difference, it still was. Still just as cruel, and you kill each other. And there's no hope for you, really. And, we wonder whether you're worse for yourself. If you're terrible enough to leave the planet and survive, and the sun becomes a planetary nebula, which is not far off, we're just not clear when it'll happen. But you'll survive, otherwise you'll be wiped out, snuffed out. And it's your own fault, because even Hitler knew that. It was discovered about then, and he built starships, he built black, but you still keep, well, but instead he built warships and kill each other. And you still want to kill Hitler, don't you? But he's dead anyway, but you're so terribly paranoid about killing everything he did. And there's nothing wrong with it. I don't think killing the Jews is the right thing to do, but all the other murders he did, he was a terrible man around murdering people. Not the right thing to do. That's because the British damaged his brain. Couldn't think of anything else to do. But before they did that, he was a nice man. And as I say, the story is he was replaced by a British stooge who was serially brain damaged and controlled by a radio. So it's all the royal family's fault. And so I don't know. They think the status quo is more important. Christianity is more important. The status quo, because it's survived a long time. And well, that's what I've been told. And so the next step is to kill everybody except the Normans. They're all bubbly mad anyway. But there's stories about space travel, so there is a yearning to travel into space. But when you start finding things that make you feel sick, you don't want to know. So, and our Russians are more liable to believe in outer space. Entities from outer space than other people, because their culture allows them to. The Christians have this clamp down on people. and preventing them believing aliens, but because it destabilises the earth with worldwide control. It's not true, and the Pope would lose his income basically. That's what it is, income. The bishop told me that, it's just income. They don't want you because you affect my income, I will kill him. So he did, succeeded. They dragged me into this death camp and poisoned me. And they're still coming to poison me. That's what I can do about it. And I would like to see a death camp down the road, which is actually called a hospital, razed to the ground, and all the people work there executed because they're murderers. And basically the whole of the Norman tribe should be hanged because they're criminals. And because they partly inherited this criminal behaviour, the only way is to kill them. But people with descended but aren't all the same, you see, because genes get mixed up and they're not the same people, so it's not quite clear who should be killed and who shouldn't be. It's much of the culture and learning. So, I mean, I can't do that. They say I was committing treason, but the people in power are sick people, they're terrible people. And often people in power are because, they get a position, things like that. I see them, and that's very bad. But they're all there preserving their own incomes, all they're doing. And I don't know what to do about it. I know I can do it. That's true what I can do. And well, it seems just an old man now. Nobody cares. And I don't know what they'll do to me. They'll probably drag me out of the house and sell it and put me in some death camp. Where they give me injections and poison my brain, God knows what else. And they care for you, but basically they poison you. They want to know. Don't want intelligence in old people. Don't like it. And all got a story to tell, but nobody wants to know. Nobody. And the carers don't care at all. It's what they lunch. And they don't care. Don't care at all. They're quite happy to knife you when they get rid of them. So, when I was taken to hospital, I was in one of these death camps visiting an island who was 1 year old, and I did a knife in my head, which was struck into my head by one of the carers. Because she wanted to dinner with us talking to you, and she wanted to dinner, so she knifed us. And that's all there is to it. She didn't care. Didn't care at all. And they don't want. My mother was successful as a pilot when she was about 91 or something like that. So they didn't want that, so they poisoned her. I think they mashed her brain. And that applies to me too, as I want intelligence. No people, not allowed. So I object to that, and I like to stay alive. Of course, not responsible for my freedom, not responsible, but they just want to get rid of me. It's their job, They got these dive tables. At a certain age, people fold off and die. Well, it's more or less true, but some people live slightly longer than others. And people who are 50 have risen eyes and faces and so on. Well, so far, I'm started. The skin is falling. I was poisoned because it's irreversible. And something like that. The people, they're criminals. They're criminals, that's all. As well as, it's like that. The death sentence, get rid of it. And that's why the Royal Scots attacking me. Don't want to live thousands of years. Well, no chance of that. Nobody ever does. He's deluded in thinking so. It's not nice to be killed. Not nice at all. And especially by people I've known for years. And the people around me are much younger than me. And I don't fit in. I'd like to go into flats, but they want me to go into care home. I don't want that. I'll stay here. I don't want to care home. Come on, these supporters of the Nation, they don't care at all. So best to stay away. And unfortunately, they've taken over my affairs. They can force me into it. Force me. So they can use Section 3 use Section 3 of the Mental Health Act to put old people who quite carefully live by themselves in care to get rid of them because they want to make space for young people. And there's some sense of what they say. But they wouldn't let me move out of here into a flat. No, they wouldn't let that. It would have released this house, which is a family house for young people, into a flat, and they wouldn't let me. They blocked it. I know. They're just cynical. They don't want that to happen. What do you do with the money? They don't care, they wanted it. They wanted my money. Yeah, that's the carer. The carer was a man called Joe Menzer, and he was tempted by having my money. He would have had that. And there's also a prize for getting rid of somebody who believes in Tesla, whatever it was, and he wanted to own it. So it's all money. Somebody poisoned the air. I mean, psychiatry is all based on what happened to Nikola Tesla when they chopped his brain out. But and it wasn't a wonderful treatment. The man wasn't mad at all. He was able to do things other people didn't understand, and they still don't understand it, unfortunately. But Clark used a different mathematics because he came before, but Clark Maxwell has this mathematics. Nothing wrong with his mathematics, but it there's nothing wrong with it because I can't criticise it works. But it's all only representation. And well, it doesn't work with Einstein either. Karl Maxwell doesn't work with Einstein. And I know what Tesla tended to be experimental. And he had some very good ideas. But he invented alternating currents, and all the transmission lines, and the induction motor, generators and things. Which, I mean, some of it was done by Edison, who had DC motors and DC, and he didn't like AC. They weren't fun about it. And AC transmits better, and it can be transformed up and down all sorts of things you can't do with DC. And so Tesla has managed to buy, or had to develop one of the first radios before Hertz, and Hertz used a different way of transmitting, but I didn't understand it for a long time. But I did a bit how much was explained to me, and I understood it. But Tesla had these radios, short range radios, which were coils basically, and it used both the near field and the far field, and it was able to control model boats and things. So it was very clever, and also power, because it wasn't just control, it was power than by radio. So pretty clever man. And they fighted, was this thing useful to be in a warship to kill people? That's all I think about. Could I use it in war? One of these machines was detonating magazines of warships that went too close, so it was rare and popular. So, whatever it was, we shall never know because they knocked it down. Tesla was a murdered genius, basically, and it's a shame. And psychiatrists questioned it. So because psychiatrists are actually murdering people, we should hang them. They said, or shoot them, or just get rid of them. Well, I can't do that because they'll come to the house and take me away. But they got the law on their side, and it shouldn't be. They're criminals. They do. They sometimes target people who. One of my carers says, I'm a rich man. Basically, he's saying, I want money to your money. He says, I've got millions of pounds. Well, as far as I know, they want my money, so they want control of it. And younger men have more use for money, or they think they have. Older people, well, I don't see why it should be stolen from me. I have to pass on to people I choose. You can't buy them off, so I want everything. So, person is trying to take his money, or just took it out. And I haven't got millions of pounds, that's what he says, but I have my pensions, and that's it. So he's hit barren ground. Where do you get this millions of pounds from, I don't know. Some people think so, but so far I've not seen it. And as far as I know, the millions of pounds I did have was taken from me a long time ago. And, well, once it's gone, it's gone. Somebody else wanted it. Whatever it was used for, it wasn't in my benefit. So they just laugh at me. They don't care. They don't care at all. The people in power are criminals, whoever they are. I mean, I'm not talking about Parliament. I'm talking about aristocracy, the bishops and stuff, and the Normans. They're just criminals. They don't care. My co-star when I was a child before, he pushed me in the face. It said, what's the point of having money if you don't build a big palace? Well, I don't know if she had a big palace or not. But I thought, well, if you have money, you should use it for something beneficial, not just palace, no use for me. So I didn't have a palace. But this is my palace. It's quite nice, quite small and manageable. I've got a palace here to have people in it, full of people. Nobody has to be repaired, expensive, and they all fight each other. That's what Princess Diana says. Plenty of his plotting, trying to get favours, terrible place. So palaces are not nice places. And so I don't want one of those. No, they're plotting to steal my money. But as far as I know, I don't have any. So I did have money, but it was taken from me. My sister had quite most of it. And it wasn't huge sum of money, they think it is. And this poor woman who they butchered, or they say they tried to butcher, had money, so they saw it, there was no money. And that's what it was. And I've been in the hospital, I've noticed a number of the inmates had money which was taken from them. It does appear to be the job of these criminals called psychiatrists to steal people's money. That's all. If you've got too much, I want it. So somebody wants the money, and whatever it is. But I was told when I inherited that money, that I couldn't have it unless I had to swear oath of allegiance to the Queen, and the Queen approved. Well, what's it do with the Queen? Well, as far as I know, the Queen has plenty of money. She's all right. But and I've no will for the Queen, but it wasn't her that said that. It was somebody else. And I don't know what she was talking about. So I didn't get it. And if I had got it, it would have caused trouble. So best wish. Well, I did have spent quite a lot of money, but basically they want it. But I'm not allowed to have it. I'm getting old now, so they're all waiting to get the money. Not right now, so there isn't any. It's a census. But it was a child act when I had the money, but and I basically they took it off me then. And they wanted me to know what to do with it. What are you going to do with it? Well, as far as I'm concerned, your money's poisonous. And if I have it, it's poisoned me. And if I give it to somebody else, it'll poison them. And it poisons everybody who knows about it. Princess Diana found that money was poisonous, so she threw it away. And that's the best thing to do with money. And some people call it a golden ball that holds you down. So that's how Princess Diana thought of it. It's a golden ball that held her down. And so chuck it away. And diamonds are the same. This man was going around boxes of diamonds, never for anything. How much this was worth 20,000. Well, so it's 10,000. What's it used these for? Only a bit of rock, a box. Why don't you buy a Mercedes with it? And some of my relatives, they're old men now, but they go around throwing diamonds around. They got old and died, same as anybody else. And didn't do very good. They had their lives. I've had my life, but well, one I have I work for. And I'm told I'll be able to keep the one I work for. Well, they steal that too. And I spend quite a lot of money in my house, which I own and I earned. And still don't get very much money. A lot of people think money is very important, and it is. You've got to have money, but not too much. Not too much. And some's a relative, because some people have loads of money, and some people don't. Some people have intermediate sums of money. Which is how rich is rich, Until we have a rich tax. Some people think rich tax. Well, where does rich start? Is it 5,000 a year, or is it having £10,000 worth of property, or whatever it is? No, that's not good. You always mess it about. But is it £1 million? Well, some people would say yes. Well, some people would know £1 million. I think it's very much. This house down the road is worth £2 million or £5 million. So nobody thinks that's too rich. And some people have £10 million. And that's some people that's not money, but it isn't for someone who it isn't. So I don't know. The biblical tax is 10%, well, that's difficult for young. It's important to pay a lot of money, but if they're left money, less it's 10% of a small amount. It's a small amount, but it's still quite a lot. If you've got £10 coming in and you've got to spend £1, that's actually quite a lot of money, because £10 should buy 10 ready meals, and £9 will buy 9 ready meals. So there's a lot of difference. Difference in one day, food, or perhaps it's all like that. So it's got some money. It's a small amount of money. 10% of a small amount is actually quite a lot. And and the people who extracted these tax, the tithe, it was, but it didn't go to the church. It went to the norms, didn't it? And of course, it's savage. And it's difficult. You've got to have something. There are sliding scales of tax, don't they? So a lot of people don't pay anything at all. And when you start getting richer, you start paying tax. And eventually you have got a lot of money, and if you're lucky, if you're normal. I've been told that some people, people in my profession, my job, was get about 50,000 a year one time. That sounds a lot of money, but nowadays that's pretty average. People get more than that. I don't know what people get, but I'm not up to date. But pensioners have fixed it. It goes up slowly, but not as fast as other people. So I'm still working, still doing things. Transfuser is what I think I was up doing. I also do that to women, but it's not that good. It's not that good, but it has a problem with the actual force, force pushing it over, and other things. And windmills do not produce enough power, no matter how many you have. There's not enough wind to do it. The wind is a constant speed all around the world, and it comes from Earth's rotation and the sun, so there's can't change it, so it's fixed, and then it still you catch the air, but so it's limited. It's not enough. Anyway, so there's no the fusion power I'm trying to do. It would be enough. Well, it went for a while, of course, because there is a man who predicted that if we did start using the fusion and using seawater and so on, the amount of power would lose, the exponential increase as we use more and more, would slowly eventually heat the Earth up to red heat, and the sea would evaporate and everybody would be killed. So we were jokes. So can't get away from it, because thermodynamics is thermodynamics, and there's too many of us. One possibility is a strict breed control program, which will restrict the number of people to a much lower level, and not too low, otherwise it becomes unstable, but on a low level, so that but in any of the cases you find that if you do that, you don't have enough people to maintain civilization. And all these mechanical things built by thousands of people. In trains take a lot of people to make them and support them and the solar trains do as well. So you can't cut the population that much, because you need the people. It's only because you've got these people that will produce them, because it's the spare labour capacity of each person. When you only have one person working, the spare capacity is quite small. There is some, but it only works when you get several families working together, and exchanging goods. But if you have this, it's a British airplane, thousands of people and thousands of passengers, so that's the only way you can do it. And you need the population. So start cutting the population, that will destroy civilization. And I think that's what the Pope wants to do, so he can get his money. So he won't be affected, you see, by this cut. He would not be affected, the clergy wouldn't be affected, they'd be right, be quite happy. But plenty of money, be steaks every day and so on. But the rest of us, as far as they're concerned, and that's the unfortunate truth. So watch out. There's a thief about your money and your life he wishes to take, and he's down the road, probably in the vicarage, probably, and the church and all that, or the Anglicans, not just the Anglicans, but and the aristocrats. They think they're better than other people, and they use their cleverness to Some people do serve, some just take, and they think they're entitled to it. But I'm actually quite well off, really. I can't complain, and it's a result of me working my life. During these recessions we had, I was working. I wasn't affected by it, and I always had money, and I always had things. And when they started stealing it, I wasn't very happy when I inherited money. I stole it because they wanted it. I was told that they actually wanted to start businesses and things. Well, when you look at their businesses, they weren't making any money, so I lost it, so I lost it anyway. And they wanted me to invest my money in them instead of go and work for them, which is regular money for actually working. Well, that's where this group of people group together and pull the resources to start a business. But it's quite a good idea if people put to me like that. It'd be different. I didn't have any money. By that time, money had been stolen. But it's very difficult to do that. Because I have ideas about what I want to produce, and nobody went along with it. They had their ideas. And a man had a going concern, but he was very ill. One of the things wrong with him, he probably did now. And it wouldn't have worked. And of course, he wouldn't accept it. I don't know. He was a nice bloke. He didn't have much money. Only had £1 million, which is not a huge amount. And so he wouldn't risk anything because it was horrible. And it's taken me a long time to get as far as I got with this thing. And the investment is modest. And throwing money at it would not make it go any faster. I'm delayed by not having any money, but mostly because interest shrinks. You poison my brain and stop me doing anything. When you have this brain poison, you stop. Because everything stops, you don't do anything. So this machine will just sit there. And it's been built up over sort of years, sort of months, not years, months. And because I can't afford to buy it all at once, and it's a good thing because I try things out and I develop it. So you want a small amount of money each time, that's only quite, and the stuff's quite cheap. And one of those things. So, as far as vacuum pumps is concerned, there's some quite good vacuum pumps, like Cadet and refrigerator vacuums, but they don't give the amount of vacuum that my machine does, which is, at one time these motors on these vacuum pumps, diaphragm pumps, were going at £16 each, but for some reason the man who was supplying them has stopped manufacturing this, can't get them now. It's possible the manufacturers will stop making them. But there's a Chinese company that makes similar things before you use those. It's always the case that one person starts something else starts up. But they're only £12 each. And I think they're the same, we can't tell because they need different measurements, but they're the same. It's probably a coffee restaurant, coffee as well. And so where is the original gone? I think it was originally used to aerate fish tanks. So maybe a fish tank can be with them. And that's gone bankrupt too down the road, that's gone. There was a fish tank place, aquarium place down the road, but it's gone. So companies come and go. Oh, we'll go soon. That's my philosophy for the time being. Nobody's interested. I'm sorry, nobody will listen to it. Well, nobody does till somebody finds it. They might find it. No, not forever. No. I've deleted quite a lot of my videos because they're causing offence. So I deleted them. This as well. This is, if it causes offence, I delete it. Good idea. Don't cause offence. I will stop now. Okay, I should wait. I'll find any further coming. I think I've got some. What have I got? Not very much actually. I've got some fish. I had some fish just now. Rice, fish and rice. I was supposed to go evening meal, but I'm still hungry. I haven't got much time. See, I'm not allowed to eat bread, which is filling, but it's not good for you. When you start losing weight, you feel hungry, and the only way to lose weight is to feel hungry all the time. And that's what I've done before. I have seen before, because when I had my heart, when I had a heart attack, I was told to swim. I did, but they immediately started feeding me again. It's totally cynical, fucking fat. And I don't know, I was ill again, so he may be ill, he lost my work, lost my labour. It's his fault, it's his bad judgment. A slim man is able to do more work than a fat man. He thought a fat man is strong, it's not true. The slim man is stronger. The muscles are obviously separate from the fat tissue. And he thought fat tissue makes you strong, it doesn't. It just works you well. I don't think the length of life are any different, but it's more pleasant to be slim. And I have lost weight and I feel better. It does make a difference. Being fat is not good for you. When you try to have sex when you're fat, you can't do it. You've got to be slim to have. You've got to be reasonably slim to have sex. Otherwise, you bounce around on a stomach, don't you? You would choke. But, not a good idea. We find that out. No, when I was young, I never had a problem like that. Yeah, 19, you're slim anyway, but can't stay 19 more than 5 minutes. 19 for 1 year precisely. That's a pretty good deal. And it's slightly better when you're 25. Then you go downhill. In fact, I think you start going downhill at 19 actually. But you reach a peak about 25. Maturity is coming at 25. And you normally do have families between those ages. And, well, so what I did, I had a family. I went down to see them. My wife came to me now and again to have a child, and she wasn't allowed to see me, so we did it secretly. And that applied to several women I had, because I wasn't allowed to marry them, but they still wanted to have babies. I don't think I don't know what the reason was. They didn't want to pass on my philosophy. Didn't like it, whatever it was. But it's passed on in our cultures, and I didn't know that. Cheer up, yes, I'll be dead.